All right. Actually, this is from the Summer
Oh
Guest,
yeah,
which
not the Spy Coast. Sorry,
the
the
one
Summer
that's the
Guest.
one coming out next week, and this is from the very beginning. Those of you who have not read the series, it concerns a group of five retired spies who live in a little town in Maine, which is where I live, and I am surrounded indeed by spies, real spies. So this opening chapter actually takes place in 1972 in Purity, Maine. On the last day of his life, Purity police officer Randy Peltier ordered a cup of coffee and a blueberry muffin at the Marigold Cafe. It's what he always ordered after getting off the night shift, his reward to himself for the lonely hours spent in his cruiser, keeping the streets and back roads of his town safe from drunk drivers, speeding tourists, and the occasional rabid raccoon. He sat at his usual corner table next to the window, where he could keep an eye on the activity on Main Street. A good cop never stops being watchful, even while off duty. "Refill?" said the waitress. "Sure thing, Carla. How was it last night?" "Pretty quiet," she laughed, "and we like it that way." As Carla went back to the kitchen, he unfolded his copy of the latest Purity Weekly and scanned the headlines. Summer reservations hit record high. Black bear sighted on Oak Street. Car crash sends two to hospital. All in all, a typical week in July when half the people in town were tourists from away, here on vacation, uninhibited and often drunk. Every summer they invaded from Massachusetts and New York and beyond, streaming into Maine to escape the heat and stink of their cities. It was Randy's job to keep them from hurting themselves or others and then to wave them back home, hopefully with their wallets a little lighter. The doorbell tinkled. Randy looked up to see two of those out-of-towners walk into the Marigold. Oh, he knew the two men weren't locals because they were wearing black leather jackets when it was almost 70 degrees outside. They paused inside the door and scanned the cafe as if casing the room. They spotted Randy and momentarily froze. "That's right, gentlemen. Law enforcement is watching." "Table for you boys," said Carla. Yeah," one of the men finally said. Randy watched as Carla led them to a table a few tables away, close enough for him to keep an eye on them. They both picked up plastic menus and studied the breakfast offerings a trifle too intently, as if trying to avoid Randy's gaze. He didn't know if these men were armed, but it never hurt to be prepared, so he reached down and unsnapped his holster. The shorter man suddenly glanced over his menu at Randy. It was just a flick of his eyes, but in that instant, their gazes connected, held. He was so focused on the men that he did not see the white van streak past his window. He heard the screech of tires, a sickening bang of metal slamming into metal, and he turned to the window, saw shattered glass littering the street, and, sweet Jesus, was that a body? "Oh my God," said Carla. Randy scrambled to his feet and ran out of the Marigold. The first body lay only a few yards away in a spreading pool of blood. Across the street was another body, a woman, her pink blouse shorn open, one breast indecently exposed. Randy dragged his attention away from the bodies and looked down the street toward the sound of a blaring horn. At the end of the block was a white van, its front end embedded in the side of a parked blue sedan. The world around him seemed to halt on its axis. He moved past horrified pedestrians, their hands clapped over their mouths, past the two men in leather jackets who'd followed him out of the cafe. Through the freeze frame of carnage, Randy alone seemed to be in motion. As he drew close to the crashed vehicles, he saw Tarkin Fine Carpentry printed on the white van. He knew this van. He knew the driver. Randy yanked open the door, reached across Sam Tarkin's lap, and released the seatbelt. "You need to get out," he yelled. Suddenly, Sam's head snapped up, and Randy stared at a man who looked like Sam Tarkin, with Sam's dark hair and angular face, but the eyes. What was wrong with his eyes? The pupils were dilated to black, bottomless pools. No, this sweating, shaking creature looked like someone else. Something else. He grabbed Sam's arm and pulled. "Get away," Sam shrieked. "Get away from me." He clawed at Randy, and his fingernails gouged flesh. Face throbbing, Randy jerked away and felt blood trickle down his cheek. What the hell, man? Enraged now, he wrenched Sam out of the van, and they both went sprawling onto the pavement. Even then, Sam kept fighting him, thrashing. "Stop it," Randy yelled. "Stop fighting me." He did not feel Sam reach for his holster, the holster he'd already unsnapped. Suddenly there it was staring at him, the barrel of his own gun. "Don't," he said. "Sam, don't." But it was not Sam Tarkin looking back at him.